everybody. Welcome back to the Destiny of Your Soul. I'm Angela Talent, author of Poems from a Lost Soul, and I've got with me Kyle Spirides, author of Decide Your Destiny. Well, or he has me with him. I don't know. We do the show together, but I was doing the intro, and I'm totally like, oh, I'm just going to take control today.
How good was that opening? I love the little opening scene.
Yeah, that was so fun. We're going to do a little bit of a shorter episode today, and I'm going to switch places with you real quick, Kyle, so that it looks like I'm looking at the camera.
Yes, cool.
So instead of looking over there, yeah, today we're going to do
Merry Christmas coming up.
Yes. For those of you that celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. And, I was thinking that some people struggle during this time of year, or like me, they're feeling a little under the weather, and it's like, Christmas, really?
Yeah. Or some people feel a bit lonely,
Mm-hmm.
and it's look, my third world problem. First world problem is the shopping, and I'm blessed enough to have a partner who's done most of the shopping for me. And I didn't know she did until it came around to, all right, where do I got to go? like, like, where is it mayhem? Where's okay? Where's safe?
Oh,
What shopping
no.
centers are good, and I found out she had done most of the shopping. So I'm super grateful for that, because she just knows that, I don't know what happens to me. It's like I clench up whenever I enter a busy shopping center.
Like, you clam up when you enter. Oh, yeah. Like the
Yeah,
too many
I don't know.
people.
I just like I just don't enjoy it. Like, people just like trying to, like, you're trying to get out of someone's way. Like, people stopping in the middle of the whole, like, just like, it's like, for me, it's like a hen house, like just a bunch of chickens, like, just running mad around each other.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
just don't quite enjoy them, shopping centres. And actually, it's funny, in South Africa, what you would do, because it's not very safe. Well, Johannesburg is one of the most unsafe cities in the world. You would People would go to shopping centres to see each other, to see family. You go to shopping centres, Where in Australia, you go to the beach, you go to the park, go to someone's house. Like, in South Africa, you go to people's houses, and some people, like, still, you can still go to the park, you can still go to some beaches, but a lot of your time is spent in shopping centres. So I don't know if I just got tired of them, but I don't enjoy them. Other people love it, because a lot of it can be like a big giving experience. You're going and getting gifts for family and friends, and maybe you're buying some gifts for, the poor, like, or, like, maybe a church, who knows? But yeah, a lot of people really do enjoy it.
yeah, they do. I'm like you. I don't enjoy Christmas shopping, and I'm in fact, I stopped giving gifts and
Yeah.
and explained to people that the most important thing for me was the time, and my gift. Oh, I said it in the car to my daughter earlier. I said, my present is my presence. Like,
Yes.
I'm going to be present with you. I'm going to check in with you. I want to connect with you. And I think what really happens is that those presents that are being given are an excuse for the connection, can be an excuse for the connection, which is
Mm.
fine. That's great. Um, and I don't remember when that all shifted for me, but I think for some people it does. Like, it shifts and go, oh, like, I feel bad for, like, the elderly people that don't have money and things like that too. Like, what does it feel like to go to a place when you're limited on income, and you want to participate, and because it's like the social expectation, right? There's so much pressure that can be put on that. So I always tell my family, only if you want, you know, only if you want, because even my daughter said, I know you want time, I'm giving you time, and I really want to give you a present this year. And I said, that's fine. So I'm not going to say no, but I'm just, hey, okay, I love you,
Yeah.
because I give gifts when it feels right. It's not always at the proper time in our, the proper social time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you look at got family friends that are Jewish, and you look at the Jewish culture. They've got many holiday seasons. Many celebrations all throughout the year. I've been around many of them, and I think like there's different levels. Because they say some are really really observant, some are not so observant, and so I think if you're really really observant, I think you actually do bring gifts, or you're supposed to donate money. Like I think around Yom Kippur, you're supposed to donate more. You're supposed to donate money to the poor or something like that. So it's interesting because
Yeah.
like seeing that sort of world. There's so many different celebrations, and then we've got our I guess Western celebration, and then there's Greek Easter, and there's all these different religions, and their different dates and different sort of what they do, and then this family will do this because they're super observant, or they're super Greek Coptic or whatever it is, and then this family over here will do this, and I don't know. I look at the kind of I look at it like a little kid sometimes and go, this is cool. This is interesting. Where do I sign up for which religion I am? Let me just.
Can I be all of them? Okay,
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like, there are great things in all of them, and there are things I don't like in all of them. So I'm just gonna, connect.
Yeah.
I'll just be all of them today.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
we probably should get to our topic at
Yeah.
hand, which is about purpose. And the question posed was, how do you continue to show up for your purpose? For this. And I think sometimes it's really hard.
It's a deep topic for Christmas. It's a deep
I know.
topic.
Well, maybe this is good for Christmas, right? Because how
Yeah.
do you show up for your purpose around family? I think Byron Katie said, you think you've done some work, go hang out with your family, right? Like,
Yeah, because you need patience. And a lot of times, one of the things that's true, if you're going along in your purpose, if you're writing the book, if you're going, hey, look, for the next 6 weeks, you're going to see this much of me, but it's going to be for something great that's going to, look after us in the future, or it's just going to feed my soul, but you're going to see this much of me. Like, you need to get your family on board, because a lot of times there's conflicting pieces of communication where it's, I want you to do well. I want the best for you. I want, you just got to chill. You just got to sit down and smell the roses. And you're like, wait a minute. The best for me is getting this book that I've been working on for 2.5 years done. Otherwise, I'm going to lose my bloody mind.
yeah. But I think, because that happens inside of me too, like not just from the people in my world, but even inside of me, the same thing happens when it comes to, I need to accomplish this task, but I really do want to spend time, and I really do care. And maybe I think the story that I'm telling about them is that that I don't care. Okay. Okay, hold on. There's a quote. I lost it. But anyway, so I'm thinking that they're thinking that I'm not doing enough, right? So I am who I think you think I am, is a Samuel Beckett quote. And so I think when it comes to purpose and continuing to show up for my purpose, sometimes it's the story in my head that I'm telling myself about the other person that's not giving me room to say no, right? And that's up to me. Like, okay, no, I'm going to do this. I love you, and I'm still going to show up for this purpose because it gets that fire going in my soul, right?
Yep. And communication is key, because you need to be able to get on the same page with people. And like you said, I am who you think, that quote, I think a lot of people are were perceived. And it's very interesting when you dive deep into where the perception comes from. You go like, oh wow, like you see me like that, that's interesting. And then you explain, no, you got me totally wrong here, my intent was this. Get really clear with your intent. Like, I don't know where that idea came from. I'm not sure why you thought I was doing it in that way. I'm not sure why your calculation spat out that number to you, but my intention was actually this because of this, this, and this. Hugely important in like relationships. Very important in like, close friends and family, like just getting that communication, getting clear on that information. And I guess the question, how do you continue to show up for your purpose? I mean, this is probably a perfect time because not just because of Christmas, and oftentimes Christmas, look, it's very hard for us to say, this is what Christmas is like, or that's what's Christmas like. Christmas is like different for everyone. But if we speak in general, this is a huge time. So say if you're selling products or you're a business owner or whatever it is, this is a huge time where either your products or your business is looked at because it's a solution for a present, or it's kind of ignored because it's such a distracting time and your clients and customers are distracted, right? So if we look at it through that lens, this time is a time where you can get distracted, you can lose yourself, you can go to one too many eggnog parties, whatever the case may be, And so I think you like sometimes it's okay to let yourself go, okay, I was at the party, I had a drink. For me, like I've got like a strong thing where I'm a strong discipline of where I'm trying not to have too many gigantic celebrations until I reach a certain stage, because then I think it's really, really rewarding, the celebration. When I was younger, with my friends, it was like every weekend was a celebration. For what? I don't know. We'll just celebrate it, So I think it's, like if you're going to let yourself go through the paces, you're going to be around maybe some family that you don't want to be around. Here's some, whatever it is. You just sometimes just got to let yourself experience that a bit, and then you're kind of going out into the ether, the universe of other people's worlds, and you come back to yours, and then you're able to come back to yours like kind of reborn. Like, no, this is why what I'm doing is really important. This is why my principles and values are really important, because of this BS that I got to deal with over Christmas, or because of this beautiful family that I love that I see over Christmas. Like whatever it is. But I think letting yourself just kind of flow into the space of the distractive Christmas holiday festivity, fun, like silliness, whatever, for a little bit, and then come back to your center, I think can be really, really rewarding, because it's really hard to say, on Christmas Day, I want you to write down your purpose 20 times, before you open the present. Like it's, obviously it's not real. But in saying that, so, to continue to show up for your purpose, one of the keys is to be aware of distraction. And like this topic does not get, I think, enough airtime. Distraction is something that is so huge when it comes to our purpose, when it comes to completing a book of poems, a transforming memoir, whatever it is, like doing a podcast, like setting up time to talk about the ideas, a business, developing a product. Like distractions are like some of the biggest, along with self-doubt, lack of confidence, biggest enemies. But another point I just want to make, how do you continue to show up for your purpose? This is another great time because of 2023 right around the corner. And what do we get told by mass media, by everywhere? It's like, oh my God, write your New Year's resolution goals, right? So if you've got 365 days of the year to live, to show up for your purpose, to make the right decisions that are going to benefit your destiny and your family's destiny, why would you spend one day, writing down your goals? And like last year, like what we did with the family, it was another person's idea, was let's write our goals down before, like in the evening. Most people are getting hammered and drunk and looking for a pair of lips to smack on with. But we were like, how do we write? So that's probably very Australian to me. How do we write down goals? Like let's write our goals down. So let's look and probably a great thing to do in the next week, like to continue to show up for your purpose, is to do a review. Like, what are your successes? What have you accomplished? What have you done that surprised you? What can you actually genuinely look at and go, wow, okay, 2021 me couldn't have done what 2022 me did, or whatever it is. Look at it and just see some of the things that you've accomplished. And like, there's definitely things there. And then look at, okay, I'm going to write some goals for 2023, but what are the goals that I'm going to write down every day? What are the commitments I'm going to commit to every day? What are the activities I'm going to do every day? Because if you want to show up for your purpose, it's a daily thing. The reason why I say continue is because we can set it up, New Year's resolutions, like you said, exactly what you said about Christmas Day presents. Like, oh, we'll give gifts on Christmas Day. We'll do it all on Christmas. And like, maybe it's a bit of a cop out, and so same thing with New Year's resolutions. Maybe it's a bit of a cop out because you're not going to continue to show up for the rest of the year. If you want to see something through, guess what? It's going to be a lot harder than you think, but it's always going to be more rewarding than you could ever thought. Like, in different ways. Like, did you find that with your book?
I think so, yeah. And I think it actually points to the poem of the day a little bit, what you're talking about. So do you mind if I go into this one? Okay.
Smack us on the consciousness.
Do what?
I said hit us with the poem. Hit us with the poem.
Oh, smack it. Okay. Well, I learned about that music is slapping this week, and so or like some other things. The kids were having me say some funny, like the new slang, okay. And cool. I was like, okay. So now you can go use it around the young bucks.
You could be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's slapping. Right.
It's slapping.
Which means it's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's really good. Okay.
All right. Let's see this poem slapping.
That's right. So I called it Purpose. It's not the dark that scares me, it's the light. What if I fail? How could you fail? What if it's impossible to fail? It's easier to stay in the dark, to live what I know, disappointment, failure, desperation. They are my good friends. They keep me company. They are predictable. Yes, it's easier to stay in the hell you already know, and if you want, you can. And I am inviting you on an adventure that will still have your friends, disappointment, failure, desperation, and more. Hope, love, light, joy, peace, and purpose. Will you join me?
Love it. Love it. Can you, as I always ask, encore, can you give it to us again?
Yeah. It is not the dark that scares me, it's the light. What if I fail? How could you fail? What if it's impossible to fail? It's easier to stay in the dark, to live what I know. Disappointment, failure, desperation. They are my good friends. They keep me company. They are predictable. Yes, it's easier to stay in the hell you already know. And if you want, you can. And I'm inviting you on an adventure that will still have your friends, disappointment, failure, desperation, and more. Hope, love, light, joy, peace, and purpose. Will you join me?
Love it. Love it. And
yes.
Can I just say one thing?
Please, yeah.
With a word like purpose, and continue to show up for your purpose and asking those questions, one thing that can happen that would stop us or halt us or maybe get us over it, or like, oh my God, the energy that I had on the first day of the year, like kind of waned, would be that, I guess, that fear of failure, or that really intense self-flagellation we have, when it comes to not doing everything perfect and right. But failure, like it's not even a thing. It's just part of, like, it's a stepping stone. And you, like, the more you go out there and like go full pelt into life, which I really think we should all be doing, because we're all heading to the same place, and our spirit's going to continue on. But I think we should all be going full pelt into life. That's my personal opinion through my experiences. You can read
Yeah.
it in a book, but I think going full pelt into life, you're actually going to create more problems and failures and challenges and things like that. You're going to, it's like you're running through the mall and there's all these people shopping. You're going to bump into more people, but you're going
Yeah.
to get further faster. And I think that's the point of it, is that those failures are like lessons and learnings. And you look at like scientists and like they need to have hypotheses. They need to go and they need to actually like do experiments and test it on this, test it on that, and spend years and years and years checking the efficacy and looking at all these different things. And you don't just go there and go, yep, seems right, or that looks good in nature. Like, let's just try it out on a human.
Yeah.
Go for it. Like, you don't do that. You go and you test. That didn't quite work. All right, that mouse fried itself. That mouse blew up. Whatever. Like, what I'm saying is, like, to get to the point of success or achieving or purpose fulfilled, there's going to be a lot of steps along the way that are going to be steps that maybe seem like they're in the wrong direction, or like, oh my God, I can't believe I went to hit the ball, but I missed the ball,
Yeah. Well, I had a little bit of an epiphany this week. One of my daughters asked me to put back up the feelings wheel on the refrigerator, and I did. And I also put one right above the computer here, right above the camera. And I was looking at it one morning and I'm like, 3/4 of the feeling wheel, because it's like a pie chart. So it goes out, it's bad, fearful, angry, disgusted, and sad. That's 3/4 of the feeling wheel. And the other two, which surprised, can probably go in either one, but this is only 1/4 for happy. Like, and surprised, happy and surprised are in 1/4. And I thought, wow, that is really interesting. What does that tell me about life? I was like, maybe, happiness is great and I can get happiness, but if I'm trying to avoid all that other stuff, I'm not going to find that good. I'm not going to find it. I'm not going to get to experience it, because I'm going to, like, with that idea, and that's why in the poem it talks about, I'm inviting you on an adventure that will still have disappointment, failure, desperation, and it's going to have more. So it's going to be like the full human experience to work towards that purpose. There will be failures. How can I, can I trust myself when I, am I getting up or doing what I say I'm going to do? Do I have that integrity? And, when it gets tough, how am I, am I going, oh my gosh, I'm powerless right now, and so I'm going to give up? Or am I going, oh, I don't like this powerless feeling, and I'm going to keep taking the next right step, right? And I think that's really important when it comes to purpose.
100%. And that's what I love about the poem, is that it's not one of those, and a lot of this times you see this on social media, you see it online, you see it, in our world, like, oh my gosh, if you just do this, or, this famous quote says, if you just do that, and everything's just going to be dandy. And then you go out there, you go, okay, you step out your door, and then you step out your door into a puddle of water, you go, what the, all the affirmations, all the visualizations, all the meditations, all the preparations, like, get tested in that moment. And so I think exactly what you said, and I really appreciate your poem. And there's so much strength in that, guys. If you listen to it again, and we're working on a workbook as well to get out to you in the new year. So a gift for the new year. But if you listen to that poem, it's saying, hey, go for your purpose, go for your success, but be aware. Like, it's not like we're leading you to, like, a dark forest where you got no idea what's going to happen. We're telling you along the way of your purpose, you achieving your purpose, along the way of you getting to your goal, you're going to have these things. And it's really good to actually know, like, part of what's going to happen. And it's the whole discomfort thing. It's like every now and then I have these mindset shifts where I'm like, man, I want to look for some discomfort. I want to look for some discomfort. And I heard something the other day. It was like, comfort. Someone sent me this. I don't know if you agree or not, but it was interesting. So comfort is self-love, discomfort is respect. And I was like,
Mm,
whoa, like I've been looking for self-respect for such a long, like my whole my
yeah.
life, and that discomfort, like everything's comfortable, everything's set up. I've got my drink, my thing, everything, like the temperature's ideal, perfect, everything's good. Got to do a bit of work. Oh, I'm a bit tired now. Like it's like, well, because everything in your environment you're trying to make absolutely perfect. You haven't even gone out there and like say exercised or whatever it is, caused any discomfort in your life to grow. And I think like for me personally, like exercising in the morning, doing something like doing a few things in the morning that are, and for me, like I find exercising really uncomfortable, like in terms of like not like, oh my gosh, I'm sweating and this is too much. I mean, I find it like I just don't want to freaking do it. I just don't want to go and do it. I can't like surely there's something. I've got an email I've got to get to. I've got something else I've got to tend to. And I think, like in your poem, what it's saying is that, hey, going for purpose, going for all that sort of stuff, it's not just Hollywood, Disney, pretty stuff, perfect, like ending, like all these sorts of narrative that's so swell. The reality of it is that it's going to have ups and downs and all these sorts of things. And when you look at a lot of, documentaries or like you read biographies on people that have been super successful, you realize kind of sometimes the bigger the goal, the bigger the vision, the bigger purpose, sometimes the heavier the weight. And now the other thing here though is that you don't want to, we don't want to kind of disinterest you, like have you not want to go down after your purpose. There's going to be that stuff, but there's going to be like so much more times the reward and gifts and like self-respect. And if you want that good feeling within you, it is through production, it is through achieving, it is through taking action and seeing something through. And like even you creating that awesome poem like this morning, like those little pieces are a part of like you achieving your purpose and feeling good. So on the other side of that, because we are really hard on ourselves naturally and really, really, but on the other side of that, yes, it's not going to be all happiness and joy and Teletubbies. But it's also like it's going to be like the struggle and the pain. But sometimes what you can do is you can enjoy the sweat, you can enjoy the challenge, you can enjoy the struggle and go, wow, I know I'm getting closer. I know I'm getting fitter. I know I'm getting stronger. I know I'm on that way. And I remember when I did the crowdfunding campaign for the book, and the friend who told me and gave me the idea and prompted me to do it and pushed me, basically, in terms of accountability, basically shoved me into it, or like asked me the question, like, and I was like, yeah, no, I'll do it. And she said, when? And I was like, oh, I was sitting down, but I couldn't really, go, the phone, going through a tunnel, you know. She's like, when? And I was like, oh man, that's a powerful question. But she said, because I said to her, I did not know how hard that thing was going to be. Like my body was aching after that month. And she said, well, like sometimes in life, if maybe our mind can't measure all the challenges, all the specific outcomes. One, because of the surprises that we're going to get when we achieve it, but two, because if it knew how hard it was, maybe we'd be like, nah, screw that. I'm happy here with my carrot cake and my warm tea.
Right. I'm wondering maybe if one of the questions for homework might be, am I willing to be uncomfortable to achieve my goal? Because I think sometimes that's, I think for me, even when I started the podcast, when I wrote the book, when I published the book, I had to be willing to be very uncomfortable. Even coming on here, sharing the, I'm more comfortable than I used to be. I used to sweat, right? I mean, I would get done with an interview. I'd be soaked. I was a terrible mess. But
so you get the podcast sweats, not the meat sweats.
It was just I hadn't really connected with people in a long time because of my disability, so I hadn't been out and about and bringing it onto the computer. It was like relearning social, like even though I went to church and I did stuff like that, it was all the new people. And then what do I do? How do I do this? Am I asking questions? I would look at questions in we put it in the special plastic because paper is not my friend. Okay. It's like, for me, touching paper feels like a regular printer paper, feels like that sensation that you feel when someone rubs their fingernails down a chalkboard. So we put it in the plastic thing. I had my caregivers help put it in the plastic thing, and I'd look at all these questions beforehand, and I would look, and I would spend a good amount of time before any podcast interview just practicing and trying to remember that the story and the podcast wasn't about me. It was about their story and how they found hope. So what I'm saying is, like, that's super uncomfortable. In another area of my life, I'm in meditation school. I think we've talked about that before. And we're in this class called Healing the Wounds of the Heart. And we did this special breathing that was, where we like kind of go back in time and then, start looking. Well, the first day after I did it, like all these fantastic, like not just memories, but like things happened that triggered memories, like, so we played a CD in the car, and because the Bluetooth thing went out, so it's like, oh well, we still have these CDs in the car, and it was the morning song I played for the kids in elementary through school, and like all these great things started coming up, and I was like, well, that's fantastic, but remember, this is a class of healing the wounds of the heart. And then they started showing up. And I was like, oh, this is uncomfortable, and one huge one showed up this week where it was like, I realized it was, I thought that, when you're a people pleaser, it's really because you want people to love you. You want them to care about you, so you do it right and they will love you, right? It kind of becomes transactional. It's a very codependent thing to do. I admit I do it, or I've done it, and I probably still do it. And, where was I going with? Oh, right. So in that being right, or doing it right, I didn't realize until later in the week, as I'm reading a book by Vivek Murthy called Together, that it was really loneliness. So me being right had more to do with loneliness than anything else. So it's like, but that uncomfortableness and learning that about myself, now because I know, I can do something about it. So it actually makes it easier for me to say, you know what? No, what you're saying or doing is not okay, because now I don't have to please you. You see what I'm saying? Like, but I didn't know that before. So I think it's like being willing to look at those deeper meanings, and just because they give us self-awareness, and it actually helps me get closer to my purpose.
Yeah. Whilst you were talking, I had an idea for changing the homework.
Changing the homework. Yeah. Let's see.
Well, I guess when you spoke about, like spiritual development, personal growth, all those sorts of things, I think it is like we go. Some people go, oh, that's woo woo, or that's that's something I don't need to, whatever. And maybe the avoidance is because it's gonna be confronting. It's gonna take some pain. It's gonna take some, it's gonna be hard. And you're gonna like go, wow, I'm at a new level. This is great. Oh God, I just had another realization. Gosh, this is hectic. Wow, like, what's being delivered at my consciousness now? So one thing I think that I'd really love to put to, and I think it really fits into the question of how do you continue to show up your purpose. And you were talking about it with the podcast, like that you used to get sweaty and things like that. Like, and sorry to double down on your sweats, but
no, it's okay. Like it's a fantastic story.
Yeah,
I think it's a story of hope. You can make it through, right? Like
definitely it is, and a part of that, I think, we do these shows weekly, and every now and then I do another show. Like, I'm going to be doing an interview later on, but the question of how do you continue to show up your purpose? It's every 9 hours, but I'd even say maybe have this rule of thumb: every 3 hours, right? So not just every day, every 3 hours, you're getting rusty. Okay, think of it like that. So if you're training for like a bike ride, if you're blah blah, if you're like training for a speech, whatever it is, just think every 3 hours you could be getting rusty. You could be going back. You could be going. So you might have a great session with a coach or a personal player. Okay, I've got this big presentation coming up. Bang, I had this with my coach. Oh, it was great. And then the next day, you're doubting yourself. You're going like, oh my god. And then your emotions come in and all this anxiety, depression. Oh, I thought I was good. I thought I handled it, but now I just don't. And I think the point of it is the repetition of going, hey, how do I revise? How do I just carve out a quick 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes just to do some training around that, just to get some more information, some more knowledge, some more, maybe watch a couple, like videos of people speaking, maybe let me watch MLK and, Malcolm X or whatever it is. Like you've got to be able to realize that every few hours you're going to get rusty. And where all that self-doubt comes from, I believe where all that depression, anxiety, and things like that come from is the fact that, hey, I've left that to the side and I thought one coaching session was going to make me good to speak in front of 10,000 people. Or I thought, and so maybe work out, okay, 2023, what's your big thing? Is it a book? I can say with my book, like every few hours when I was really succeeding in getting things done was every few hours I was doing something with it. So maybe I wake up at 5 a.m., get everything ready. 6 a.m., I'd start writing, it'd be out of my photography work day. Then, 9 a.m. would come out, have a meeting. Then maybe I'll have a photo shoot, blah, blah. And then at 12 p.m., it'd be like, okay, what else can I do with the book? And it was like every few hours I was kind of looking back and it might have just been like a quick 5-minute edit or a quick little mind map, whatever it is, but just realize that every few hours you're going to get rusty. So if you want to continue to show up your purpose, it's not just, hey, I've got to do this every day. Like think of it, like what is the task every few hours? So I'd say as homework, just like this is the commitment to yourself. This is the commitment to your destiny. This is you leveling up. And yeah, you're going to be a bit hard and tough on yourself. And yeah, it's going to be uncomfortable and it's going to cause discomfort. But like Angela's story showed, through the discomfort, through the not feeling great about it, you're going to be able to say, man, I got this. Another podcast show, I'm going to nail it. So you can get through those moments. So ask yourself, what's my big objective for 2023? Maybe you want to write a book. Maybe you want to start a new business. Maybe you want to find that perfect partner. Maybe whatever it is. Maybe you want that personal growth. Like every one of these things, and maybe this is more what I'm trying to say. Every one of these things, you break them down, they've got multiple layers to it. Finding the perfect partner. Well, you found them, but then you realize, crap, there's a whole bunch of stuff I need to work on. There's stuff we need to work on together. Whatever it is, like there's multiple layers. Writing the book. Okay, like I'll just put pen to paper. There's so many layers down to it. Okay, now I've written it, I've published it. Okay, now I need to get that book out into the world. Well, how the heck does that work? So at everything that you choose, every objective, there's multiple layers. And I think this is why people don't continue to show up for their purpose, is because they just don't have the stamina, or they just get frustrated at the amount of things that are involved in achieving anything anything substantial. And I think if you can ask yourself every 3 hours, what am I committing? What activity am I doing? How am I sharpening up? And we've got the blessings of YouTube. We've got the blessings of like all the people that Angela spoke about, people I spoke about that, I follow and learn things from, so you can do something different. You don't have to be like every 3 hours I'm writing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because and that's where I was looking confused. I'm not sure if you saw my confused look. I was like, okay, what exactly is the homework? So you're saying check every 3 hours. So I'm going to put a twist on that because I like having because it's me. It's me. Are you willing?
Let's hit it.
So there are random reminder apps out there, and
yes.
You could put a question like, or you could just put the word purpose. And check yourself randomly so many times throughout the day and see if what you're doing is helping you get to where you want to go.
Yes, that's a great point. That is a great point.
Because otherwise, Oh, me, I would be like making sure at hour number 3 I'm definitely doing something without realizing it, probably even subconsciously and consciously, but I would make sure I'm doing something. I would train myself that at that 3-hour mark, because I'm like Pavlov's dog.
Yeah. But this is where priority comes into it, hey, because like your mind will go like. So I guess it's like your health. Like let's look at your health, right? Because everyone usually New Year's resolution, everyone has health, but they look at health in terms of physique rather than hey, the foods I'm eating. Have I checked? Is there sunflower? Like what's going? Like what is really in it? Because have my moods changed? Has my mental sharpness changed? Has my emotions, my anxiety, has that changed? Like because you can change your physique and not change those things because of the content going into your mind, but also the food that's going into your mouth. You've got to be aware of the food and the chemicals in the food and how it's processed. That's all going to affect your emotions. So when we see such high rises of depression, anxiety, and all these sorts of things, we have to ask deeper questions. What are we actually putting into ourselves, into the environment, into our minds, onto the media? What's going on that's actually coming into the human being? So with your health, every 3 hours working on your health, and I guess to explain it, you can be like, okay, I get up in the morning, go for the run, great. Come home, take my vitamins and supplements, great. 3 hours later, I'm looking at a recipe that involves no sunflower seed oils, no, like none of the bad stuff, whatever it is. It's like, okay, I'm looking at, okay, because, all these things are so in everything that we buy. Like, how do I cook something at home? So you're looking at, okay, my purpose is to get really healthy. And every 3 hours, I'm doing something different that applies to health because health is not just, I'll just get fit and lose weight. Well, actually, what are you still putting into your body?
Right.
And how's your mental health? How's your emotional health? How's your spiritual health? How's your purpose health? So,
Yeah.
maybe part of it is doing a journal. Okay, I've done the workout, I've had the supplements, I've looked at the recipe. Now, that was, I did the workout 6 a.m., 9 a.m., I took the supplements, 12 p.m., I looked at the recipe. Now it's 3 p.m. Well, what the heck do I do to make sure I'm not rusty on my health purpose? Oh, well, maybe what I'll do is I'll do a bit of journaling because that will be my mental health, So then,
Yeah.
so in terms of breaking it down, that's a great way. And having that prompt, as Angela said, that asks you that question. And you also got to prioritize. You got to be able to go, okay, how do I prioritize this goal? This
Yeah.
purpose. Maybe I have it for 30 days, maybe I have it for 90 days, whatever it is. But how do I make sure that every couple of hours, and I like 3, I like the number 3 because you can break your day up into 3s quite nicely.
Yeah. Yeah, and where you look to, you will go, right? Like they tell you in whitewater rafting, if you look at the rock, you're going to hit the rock. So,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
if your reminder, if your reminder is on your phone about your purpose, maybe your purpose, maybe the reminder, maybe I would use a value related to the purpose or something like that, or just using the word purpose, and because really remembering those feelings, those emotions, that's going to that will be what helps push you through to those difficult times, like we were talking about earlier with the feeling wheel. 3/4 of the feeling wheel is like feelings I used to say were just horribly bad and not okay, but that's not true. Like they're actually really helpful, like being busy. They put busy under bad. That's interesting. Anyway, I just noticed this as I'm looking up, but
Well,
busy
being
could be
productive,
really
I look at
happy.
as good.
Yeah, so it just depends, but still 3/4 of it is those tough feelings. So really digging into those feelings of those values and how you felt before, and remembering those as you get those reminders is really important. So we
Yeah.
talked about willingness, and we talked about checking to see if we're on track, not even on track, but if what we're doing is in alignment with our purpose.
Yeah. Well, look at lots of people have used this example before, but if you buy a ticket for a flight, you're hoping the pilot is continually checking where he's going, And there was that flight, like over just across Australia, that went missing. That plane that just went absolutely missing. So you want to be able to keep checking in, recalibrating. Like, what are the checkpoints? Okay, am I on target? Am I going missing? Thoughts and prayers out to all the family and people affected in that situation. But it's like, you look at the flight path, like you need to keep on flight. And sometimes, oh crap, there's the Bermuda Triangle, let's go to the side, whatever. Or there's a big storm, or like, there's like something dangerous over here, let's go over there.
Turbulence or something.
Turbulence. Like you've got to keep and the whole point of them not having challenges and problems is they're communicating. Their communication line, they're continually communicating with everyone. Their signal, they're receiving it over there. Like you look at airplanes and airports, they've got extremely good communication. So that's your self-communication with your purpose. And another thing would be like, maybe having an accountability buddy, someone that can help, you can check in with. But yeah, the app is really good because the app can be accountable, whether your accountability buddy's sick or away or whatever, the app will keep dinging you. So great idea.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I just thought it was a neat twist and another way to make it fun. So anyway,
very neat.
I think we made it. We made it.
Yeah.
We're
awesome,
good.
Awesome episode. So guys, go out there and like, ask yourself that question: how do you continue to show up for your purpose? Ask the question like, what are you willing to get uncomfortable with? Maybe another question: how are you going to enjoy the discomfort? But yeah, ask yourself what's your big priority? Your goal that you're going to prioritize for 2023. That you can and break it down into every 3 hours. How can I check in and get those apps? And if you've got any questions, please drop it in the comments. Let us know how you enjoyed this episode. And please check out our links and subscribe and all that good stuff. And we made it through the Christmas episode.
We did. Since I opened us, do you want to close us out?
For sure. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Destiny of Your Soul. We have got Angela Challen, who wrote the book. Who wrote the book Poems from a Lost Soul. I'm Carl Sprides, who wrote the book Decide Your Destiny. And we are looking forward to seeing you next week. Thanks, guys.